It's been 300 days since the launch of the nukes. Earth is now very different and much more dangerous. I don't know how long I can stay here. I need to leave and travel to a new planet. A planet called Mars. Can I survive long enough to make a rocket and escape this nuclear wasteland, or die trying? Welcome to my 100-day journey in a hardcore nuclear wasteland. Also, we are halfway to 20,000 subscribers, so consider subscribing. For this 100 days video, I had a few goals in mind. Number 1, I wanted to build a big house. Number 2, I wanted to have renewable energy by the use of windmills. And number 3, I wanted to make a rocket to travel to Mars and defeat the three-headed creeper. On day 1, I took my first steps into the wasteland. There was nothing but dust. Everything was dead. Well, after that sad realization, I got some wasteland blocks and opened the quest book to complete the first quest. This gave me access to a whole bunch of starter items. I after used some wasteland blocks to make some cobblestone, and then made a crafting table. Even though they are made much differently in this mod pack, I later got the shop to be able to sell coins and minerals to buy blocks, food, mobs, and weapons. And then after I got some stone tools and mined my first meteor to hopefully get some iron. And then quickly after, I upgraded to an iron pickaxe and found my first diamonds.
Yes, sir.
After mining a few meteors, I found a meteor chest, which holds Earth-like items like trees, string, bone meal, flowers, and gems. It soon turned night, and all the rats came after me, so I ran to a bunker entrance to hide. Well, this didn't stop them, however. They were everywhere. I had to resort to blocking off all the entrances, until finally, there was no rats left. After calming down, I smelted my ores and sold a few things to finally make a diamond pickaxe. Wow, what a way to finish off day 1. Day 2, I mined another meteor with my new diamond pickaxe. Wow, this thing is much more efficient. Later on, I noticed my inventory was getting a little full. I needed to find a place to live, so I spent tons of time looking for the perfect place to build, and I think I found it. But before building my new house, I wanted to place some plant life around here. I crafted some dirt using 1 wasteland block and 1 overworldian matter, which is found in meteor chests. After that, I planted some trees to rebuild some life to this world. I made a bed using the string so I could skip nights and not worry about rats. After that, I wanted to get started building the new base, so I bought hordes of white concrete and black concrete. They go quite well together. Day 3, I decided to upgrade to a gold furnace to cook things a lot faster. Also, I started works on the new base and wanted to make it look more like a laboratory. So to fit the style, I added some giant iron doors, and then I took a break from building and built an ore processor which doubles every ore you smelt. Overall, a very good item. And after I continued building, I really liked the mix between white and black concrete. Day 4, I finished the frame of the house and made some osmium armor and a sword. Osmium is a little bit worse than diamond, but it is still really good for early game. After that, I made some marble and really liked it, so I placed it around the house to act as supports. After working on the house for a little bit, I decided it was time to go mining. Maybe for a bit too long. This was a huge mistake. Night soon came and every rat was after me. I tried to build up, but they knocked me off, and my heart was racing. I built up again, but this time into a tree. I was safe. No, not really, because I fell off and they took my sword. Those damn bastards. But finally, I made my way back up to the tree and waited the rest of the night. The next day, I made my way out of the tree and killed this creeper in style. And after I decided to work on the house for a little bit, I added a frame for the windows using marble stairs, and I also used the same stairs for roof design. Overall, it looked very good. And then after, I made a coal generator to finally have access to early power. And at the end of the day, I killed another creeper. Day 6, I made a circuit fabricator to soon make some basic wafers. Wafers. I don't know how the hell you pronounce it. Anyways, these things are used for complex builds later on. And then I used this to make a compressor. Compressors are very useful. You put cobblestone in and it makes gravel. You put gravel in and it makes sand. Later on, I made my first water bucket using a bucket and overworldian matter. And then finally, at the end of day 6, I started placing some more windows around the house. This place was coming together quite nice. Day 7, I finished placing down the glass to my house, and then worked on the roof. My house was coming together quite fast. And it was time to start moving my things inside. The next day, I added some glass rows to the roof of my house. for natural sunlight. And then after made some gold crates, using the gold I gained from the meteors I mined. These gold crates hold a ton of things. I then finally transferred all of my items inside my new house, and then added a few crafting tables beside the crates for easy access. After I dug out the floor and filled it in with white concrete. Also, I did not know this, you get a speed boost when standing on concrete. Day 10, I made a circle driveway-like entrance, but I have no idea how to build a circle, so this proved to be quite difficult for me. Later, I placed some torches around the house and started to decorate inside, and then finally I placed the machines down for later use, and then made a workbench for access to crafting some guns. Day 11 was pretty uneventful. I basically went mining for the whole day, and then planted a few trees. Yeah, nothing really happened. Day 12, I was set on getting some guns, so I went mining for some iron. And then after that long mining trip, I made an AR and a shotgun at the workbench, and then bought some ammo for my guns. These guns look so cool. Day 13 and 14 was 2 very long days. I started off the day with testing out my new guns on some innocent mobs, and I loved it. And then after committing some crimes, I went mining for some more materials, and finally finished chapter 1 of the quest. It's about damn time, and now I'm finally on to the hardest quest. I had to go around to different failed labs and find the rare rocket schematics. And I had to find the Mars research papers. This was gonna be a challenge. And if I was to take on those labs, I had to suit up. I made some gun attachments that will help me in combat. Some silencers, an optic sight. I also made a sniper for high damaging shots. I'd be lying if I said I didn't play with my sniper. I was just trick-shotting rats. It was pretty fun. After turning rats to ash, I made a rocket launcher that did absolutely no damage. Useless piece of shit. And then later I made an infinite water source inside my base so I wouldn't run out of water. And finally completed the economy quest. I was definitely making some good progress. Day 15, I wanted to get a ton of diamonds, so I spent most of the day mining. And finally, I came back home and completed a full set of diamond armor. I was definitely feeling confident in my ability to survive. The next day, I colored some of my guns pink, and then looked at recipes, because this is a huge mod pack. Day 17, it was time to set off to find some schematics. I firstly bought some food and brought along the buyer for future purchases like ammo, and then finally adventured to raid the first lab, the military lab. And just to note, Endermen are very scary in this mod pack. They can break through blocks, so 2 block gaps are pretty much useless now. Day 18, I was still looking in the lab for the schematics, and found a really good book with Sweeping Edge 4. I definitely had to put this on my sword. After searching, which felt like ages, I finally found my first rocket schematic. But I had to kill one more mob to complete the military lab quest, the fire zombie. But I eventually found him and sniped him. And yeah, after that, I got the hell out of there, cause that place sucks. Day 19, I made my way back home and made an anvil. I then enchanted my sword with Vorpal 3. I have no idea what that does, but it sounds cool. I then made some golden apples and restocked on ammo, and then set off to take on the android lab, one of the much more dangerous labs. I had to be extremely careful. Day 20, I was still fighting in the lab. I had to take quite a few precautions, so I made a little hole to fight the mobs in the most cowardly way. I also tried to fight a legendary sniper, but that didn't end well. He could have one-shotted me, so I made the logical decision to run away. No, wait, I actually fought him. Wow, I sure am mentally slow. I then found a unique way of fighting these things. And then finally, I found the second schematic. I started off day 21 with sniping a creeper, and then I added some laboratory lights inside the house. After building, I did some mining, a little bit too much mining, which made me resort to sleeping inside a meteor. I never thought I would have to say that. Day 22, I harvested some grass to make some plant fiber. This was to be able to craft a grass grid, which is used to make flint. And I wanted this flint because I wanted to make a double barrel shotgun. Yeah, this thing was, well...
No, don't do it!
After I went on to fight the next lab, this was the abandoned dungeon lab. I went inside and a level 2 android tried to fist me. I was violated, so I ran away and was trapped by my own block while he was eating away at my health. I pulled out the gun of death and shot him twice. I then did a little scouting around the lab. Day 23 was not a good day. I got hit off my platform of safety into thousands of mobs down below. I ran away as fast as I could. There were these failed abortion pigs running around. I was scared. I had to get out of there fast. After I did some exploring and killed some more whatever the hell those are, the next day I finally found a failed cow. I just now had to kill a failed sheep, and then I was done with this wretched place. Yes, finally I was done. Bye, bone marrow animals. No one liked you anyway. The next 2 days I did some mining and found a scientist lab. I went inside and I searched one of the chests and I found a shulker box. This was perfect for more portable storage. And while exploring, I found a god chest. Yeah, I was very happy. I found these amazing osmium leggings. It had protection 5 and unbreaking 6. Wait. It has curse of binding, never mind. I can't even wear... Day 27, I explored another military lab and found some pretty cool stuff. The next day, I headed back home to drop off my items. I was running pretty low on storage. I then built this cool light design on the floor, and then after I made an emerald furnace. This thing cooks super fast. Day 29, I went back out to explore to find some schematics. And later on my journey, I found another scientist lab, and I was hoping to find another schematic. The next day, I was still in the lab and ran into a legendary android, and holy, he's huge. Thank God I built a barrier. I definitely avoided that android and explored the entire lab and couldn't find anything. Day 31, I left the laboratory, but soon got caught in the night. I had to dig down. You do not want to be caught out at night. The things that spawn there are quite dangerous. The next day I went mining for some more materials, and I also had the hopes to find string so I could finally make a bed, because I might have forgot to take one. And after many meteors searched, I finally found string. But there was one problem. I needed wood for the recipe. The next day I shot a zombie child. Not a child, a zombie child, so it's okay. Later on, cyber creepers started to spawn everywhere. Some were even riding T-Rexes. I needed to get these rocket schematics before they took over these lands. I needed to find a new home. It quickly turned night, so I dug underground and then made a place for the tree to grow and started dancing on it. Yes, now I could finally make a bed. The next day I found another scientist lab and raided it and found the third schematic. Only one more to go. I found the best pickaxe you can get in the game. This thing was extremely rare. It was a diamond pickaxe with efficiency 5 and fortune 3. Oh, and it is unbreakable, so it will never break. Day 35, I found a space lab, which contains the Mars research papers. This thing was very dangerous, and I wasn't gonna stand a chance, so I left it to go find some better armor. Day 36, I explored while trying to avoid these cyber creepers. They were very dangerous. But after that tough journey, I found a space lab, even though I said I wouldn't raid one right now. While exploring the space lab very safely, I found an insane helmet. It was a titanium helmet with projectile protection 9 and respiration 5, meaning I could basically be underwater forever. And I also found some titanium boots with blast protection 8. I was now a lot more powerful than before, and I mean a lot more powerful. I then exited the lab with all my loot in hand. Day 38, I found a cyber lab, which was the last location for the schematic. And you wouldn't believe it, I found an amazing diamond chestplate with protection 7 and unbreaking 9. I also found a really good sword with sharpness 3, looting 1, and silk touch, which makes no sense to me. Oh, and pizza. This journey was worth it. On day 39, I finally found the last rocket schematic. This has taken so long. After ages of exploring, I finally found the research papers I was looking for. So I left the lab right after. Now I could finally start making the rocket to escape this wasteland. Day 41, I rushed out, and just over the hills was an epic leveled android with a sniper. This was not good. I ran back into my home and waited. I went back out to fight this thing head on. He took 3 sniper shots to the head. He was not backing down. My health was draining fast, so I hid, but I was still getting shot. I soon realized that this was an ambush. The androids did not want me to steal their schematics, so I ran back to safety. Wow, that was close. After that intense battle, I started to head back home. The next day, I spent the entire day heading back home and killing some creepers along the way. Day 43, I tried to trick shot this creeper, but I suck, so it didn't happen. And I tried to do some more trick shotting again for some reason, even though I'm absolute shit at this game. But finally, after ages of travel, I made my way back home. I was extremely happy I was still alive. So in celebration of making it back alive, I made a telescope to discover Mars and finish the second set of quests. I was now on to making the rocket. Day 44, I replaced the lights on the floor and put them on the ceiling because I was starting to not like the design very much. After the renovation, I did some mining and crafted 2 teleporters for a later project. I then made a metallurgic Infuser. Metallurgic infuser. Wow, that's hard to say. Anyways, I made that machine to make some enriched alloy and a circuit board to get starting on making a windmill for renewable energy. And at the end of the day, I finally made the windmill. Day 45, I made an area to put all of my windmills. The energy storage area was made out of black concrete, a barbed wire-like fence, and a great flooring. I really liked the design of this. The next day, I finally placed the windmill and then connected it to all my machines for unlimited power. Day 47, I finally powered the teleporter that I crafted before. And then I started on a new project, the place where I was to build the rocket ship. So then I built a platform and then powered the second teleporter and linked them together. And finally, I was very surprised to see them both working. The next day, I started to build a fence going around the second floor, and then added some lights to the pillars. And lastly, made a platform for the telescope. The second floor was coming together quite nice. Day 49, I remarked my house because for some reason the last one disappeared. And then later on, I crafted another windmill generator because I was using a lot of power for just one. And finally, at the end of the night, I made a gun turret to protect my house from any mobs. It was finally day 50, which means it was halfway through this journey. So I went back exploring and the cyber creepers were already here. They arrived so fast, I had no time to prepare. This was bad. So I went around with my sniper and took out as many as I could, but that wasn't enough. I had to get this gun turret powered up and ready. At the end of day 50, the turret was almost complete. I just needed a base for it, so I crafted that real quick. This led into day 51. I placed down the turret in front of my house to now have a defense against these dangerous cyber creepers. And after I realized this turret would be useless without any ammunition, so I quickly crafted up a bunch of bullets. And then soon after I connected power to the turret, it was finally ready to go. So what did I do? I led a spider over and tested this thing out. Wow, that thing stood no chance. Day 52, I needed to make an advanced crafting table to be able to start crafting a rocket. But I needed a lot of black dye. After I went to a close by lab and had no luck finding any dye, I had to find another way to get it, or this was gonna take a long time. But in the meantime, this T-Rex chased me down, but I closed my door on him and my turret took care of the job. Now, whenever you kill a T-Rex, a part drops. You need 8 of these, all surrounding an egg, to make a pet T-Rex that you can eventually ride. This was something I had to work towards. The next day, I went outside and found this cool end shard. These things were very rare, but when I got to it, it despawned. After that unlucky event, I found out a way to get some more dye. I wanted to dig out a giant pond area where squids can hopefully spawn. I didn't know if this would work, however. I was just guessing. The next day I went mining all day, but I waited a little bit too long to come home. It was already night. This was very bad. When I eventually got home, I made a bonsai plant to get unlimited ender pearls. Day 55, I watched this cord fruit plant grow, and wow, it is tiny. And then later I made another bonsai pot for a tree to get unlimited wood. I needed leather because it is used for a jetpack. Yep, we're going there. So then I hit day 57 and I started to make a jetpack for fast portable flight. I later expanded the pond because no squid has spawned yet. Wow, what a surprise. And then later I added some grassland around my base so some animals would spawn. And then when it hit night, I went around killing some zombies to get some rotten flesh to pulverize into leather. And then finally, I made a tier 1 jetpack. The next day I put my jetpack in the energetic infuser to charge it up, so I can use it later on. And while waiting for the jetpack to fuel up, I went hunting for some dinosaurs. I really wanted to get one of these as a pet. Finally, when my jetpack was all fueled up, I decided to upgrade it to tier 2. Now it can hold 400,000 RF instead of 80,000 RF. Overall, a very great upgrade. Day 59, I expanded my property with some dirt, and then refueled my golden jetpack. And later on, I pulverized some rotten flesh for some more leather. And then at the end of the day, I upgraded my jetpack to tier 3, and now it holds 20 million RF. Wow, this thing is insane. The next day I did some hunting for some T-Rexes, and then after I was so surprised to see that squid actually spawned. So after this short celebration, I murdered all of those poor squids and took their ink sacs. These ink sacs can be combined with iron to make black iron. This was used for the advanced crafting table that I needed. At the end of the day, I tried the new jetpack. Yeah, I had no idea how to use it, and I actually almost died. Okay, well, not really. But don't worry, I made precautions the next time when flying. Wait, jetpacks can't go in water? Yeah, okay, maybe I'll put the jetpack down for a couple of days before I get myself killed. Day 61, I did some more mining and shot a few cyber creepers. And later, squids were spawning like crazy, so I killed them happily. Day 62, I started making the advanced crafting table. I need a lot of materials that I definitely did not have. Day 63, I thought it would be a great idea to make a laser rifle. I really thought this thing would be amazing, but no, it is the equivalent to a wet paper towel. After that disappointment, I made another windmill because power was running low again. And later on in the day, I killed some more squid and then worked on the advanced crafting table. I was actually really close to completing it. The next day, I came back to a T-Rex being mutilated by my turret. And later, I did the daily killing of squid to finally get enough black dye to finish my advanced crafting table. I was very excited to start crafting stuff for the rocket. Well, before crafting this rocket, I had to do one thing. I found this donkey outside, and without consent, I forced him to be friends. Then I kidnapped him. From days 65 to 69, I did some mining, worked on building the rocket, and finally made the cute T-Rex egg that will soon be my own little helper. Firstly, I had to put in the oven, like you do to any newborn. Then I built a little house for him at the side of my house, so he is close by. And finally, I watched him hatch. He is absolutely tiny. I then decided to name him Robert. This little creature will never escape this place. Well, I'll find him in the morning. Day 70, I found Robert and trapped him. I went back home and got a lead to force him back inside his shack. And later I decided to feed him some redstone blocks so he can grow. And luckily for me, I did not need any redstone, so this worked out perfectly. Day 71, I did absolutely nothing. I just went mining the whole day. The next 2 days, I did some more mining and worked on the rocket by compressing tons of metal. Day 74, I completed the main frame of the rocket, but the success was soon ruined at the end of day 74. While compressing some things, I heard the faint noise of my turret shooting at something metal. When I looked out the window, I saw the turret shooting at Robert. I wanted to do something, but it was too late. Robert died. I walked into his home, and the faint scent of oil surfaced the cage. I wanted to honor his presence, so I made a sign dedicated to him, and paid respects to him by tossing redstone on his grave. He would have wanted that. Justice for Robert. To mask the pain of Robert dying, I decided to take the logical approach and bring much more death to this world by flying around and sending these mobs 6 feet below. After that gruesome act, I also made a new sniper. This one had a giant sniper scope on it, and it was painted red. And after that, I made a gravity gun. You may be asking, well, what does a gravity gun do? Well, it does this. Day 76 was spent mining for more materials. Overall, a pretty uneventful day. Day 77, I made an endless furnace, which is the second best furnace you can get. I later noticed my donkey loving the teleporter, so I came up with a new name for him, Teleport, because he likes to teleport. Wow. After that, I tested out the new furnace, and wow, this thing cooks insanely fast. At the start of day 78, I made the second stage rocket part. I was getting closer to leaving this wasteland. Shortly after, I made a trunk for the rocket ship, which goes on the top of the stage 2 part. I now only need one more part, the capsule. Yes, from days 79 to 84, my life consisted of mining, compressing metals for the final part of the rocket ship. This thing was really expensive, but after long days of hard work, it was finally crafted. I was now onto the grueling task of setting up the oxygen for the trip to Mars. Day 85, it was time to get the rocket ready. I made a fuel loader and a refinery. I then went upstairs and placed down the machines. After that, I needed a lot of oil for the rocket. Now, oil usually spawns in pockets underground between Y levels 15 and 34, so I went digging. After filling up on fuel, I went back to the refinery and made some rocket fuel. Day 86, I made a fuel canister to now fill it up with refined oil. And at the end of the day, I started working on ways of collecting oxygen. I first made an O2 collector, which collects oxygen from nearby trees and leaves. I spent days 87 to 89 collecting materials and working on the oxygen for Mars. This was very tedious, but I was almost done. I just needed thermal under armor to stay warm on Mars. But this armor needed 96 wool, so I needed access to a lot of wool. So it was time to kidnap sheep in a cage and skin them for profits. I then spent day 90 trapping these sheep in their cages. You are my property now. Now produce wool, my animal slaves. I mean, well-paid workers. Day 91 was a bad day. It started to rain acid, meaning all of my sheeps were getting melted alive. I had to save them. I rushed outside quickly and made a roof for them. Wow, that was very close. Also, never look up during acid rain. For some reason it blinds you. So after coming inside while legally blind, I noticed my armor was pretty beat up. So I compressed some titanium and repaired all my armor. The next day I filled up my O2 tanks using the oxygen compressor. And then after I charged up my batteries to use them on the telescope to finally discover Mars. I needed to have a source of power on Mars somehow. So I made a windmill that I would take with me on the journey. At the end of the day I finished the full thermal set of armor. I was now very close to going to Mars. Day 93, I set up my liquid oxygen loader and fuel loader to power the rocket ship. So with that being said, I started to fuel up the second stage rocket first, then the capsule, and then I started to construct the full rocket ship. I then spent the rest of the day collecting supplies for the Mars trip. I spent the beginning of day 94 saying goodbye to all my animals, Teleport, Robert, and the kidnapped sheep that will probably never see freedom again. Sorry sheep, but I'm really not. I then took my nervous steps up to the rocket ship, and it propelled off the ground. I could see my home getting farther and farther away from me. This was a start to a new chapter, a new home. After a year of space travel, I finally see the faint pitch of orange. I have arrived. After I explore the vast landscape of Mars, trying to find a place to build my new home. Yes, I found the perfect place. I placed down my windmill for energy and set it up to the bubble distributor, which emits a large bubble which you can breathe in. And then after I set up inside my leaf base and placed the first tree ever on Mars. I spent most of day 95 working on the house. I then tried to get some gold from spawning in zombie pigmen using the shop. The next day I collected a mysterious egg that I found on the surface of Mars. What could this be? After that confusing discovery, I worked on expanding the house because I felt like it was a little compact for my liking. I then hunted some Endermen to charge up my golden Eye of Ender. This is used in a crafting recipe for a dungeon compass. The next day I decided to investigate what this mysterious egg was. So I smashed my hands against it and it cracked. Something came out of it. It was like a slug-like creature. I have never seen this before. He needed a name, so I named him Diggly. I then spent the rest of the day preparing for the dungeon. I didn't know what waited for me in there, but I was ready to take on whatever is thrown at me. The next 2 days was quite an adventure. I firstly said goodbye to Diggly and then leaped into Mars to find the dark dungeon. After searching for a while, I finally found the entrance, so I jumped down. It was very dark. There were mobs with space helmets on. It was like they have adapted to this place. Anyways, I kept making my way through the dungeon until I ran out of torches. I sadly had to go back to my house to find some more. And now that I have a lot of torches, I can finally beat this thing. And on day 99, I made my way up to the large room filled with eggs of some sort. I then stepped into the room and a giant creeper with 3 heads spawned and started to shoot TNT at me. I countered the attack by hitting the TNT back at him. I then pulled out my rainbow energy drink and fought this boss head on. He finally started to lose his heads one by one until the boss was finally defeated. He let out a loud cry before he exploded. And dropped a key to a chest. I opened the chest and found some Desh armor. These are one of the best armor sets in the game. I then set off to find another dungeon, which was probably not the best idea, but I found one 17,000 blocks away from my house. So instead of heading back home, I fought through the dungeon. And once I got out, I only had just over half a tank of oxygen to fly 17,000 blocks. I was questioning if I was even going to be able to make it back. But after ages of flying back, I finally made it back to my house, with almost no oxygen left. I was very lucky. This was the final day of this amazing adventure. I was surprised we even made it this far. And to celebrate the final minutes of this 100-day journey, I put in Mall and went to the top of my roof and watched the sun and my old home in the distance. If you want to see me go to Venus in a 200 days part 2, make sure to leave a like. Anyways, if you liked the video, consider subscribing and join the Discord, link in the description. Anyways, this was the easiest challenge I've ever done, and I did not die once. Okay, never mind.